Hi guys, this is our third recording for the explanation on the project or to explain the codes. So I'll start with the remaining part, which is eligibility.py. Okay, so what does these codes do over here? Let me explain that. So I've just, as usual, imported all the dependencies, all the required files over here. Since we are using random forest classifier to build the model, I've imported from sklearn.ensemble. Um Random forest is imported. Train test split. You might be already aware since you all are from the data science background. So from the you might have learned from in the course about all these things, how we split the data into two and then use it as your x and your y data to fit into the model. Okay, so there's a data which is eligibility data.csv, which I have made in such a way wherein it has a couple of features. Here it is. The first one is age, gender, income, expense, company name or company rank is there, experience, number of years of experience, and the final answer, which is either eligible or not eligible. Okay, so the final feature is going to be our label, and rest we are going to use it as a feature to train the model. Okay, so if you want to see how I made this, on what basis I put the input, how fake is this data, or if this data is as good as realistic data. In order to understand how I make these data, you can just simply go to the GitHub file. I believe this data is over there. Here it is. It should be here somewhere. Okay, no, so it's not here. Probably I missed out on this. I have a file which says making data set for eligibility. This is the one, okay, here it is. SS spot eligibility data. So this file, you will be able to see how I've made the data. Okay, what is the concept that I've used? Uh, the understanding of how the income should be tracked, or the age, and how the data becomes you can say like a bell curve, like not in too much into not too much skewed data, or not too much on the kurtosis part. So it's like even data, it's not uneven. So I have worked on making data that to an even data, not a random something which is completely fake. Something like a realistic data. In fact, this data is even more realistic than the real data. And since I've made this data, there is no need for cleaning and feature engineering on that. So that saves my time. So we are using this eligibility data.csv, and then I'm using this data to make a training data, uh, which will find out whether the user is eligible or not. So since this data has string values, and we want all numerical values to be fed into the model, we will make few changes here. Like for example, gender and eligibility. In gender, the values are M and F for male and female, and then eligibility has the values yes or no. So with the help of one hot encoding, I am encoding these two features. Okay, and then uh, after which I am dropping the original features and using the newly created features which has ones and zeros. Okay, over here. And then again, for the company, where the values are, there are only three values in the feature called company: rank 1, rank 2, and rank 3. So I'm just mapping them, uh, kind of labeling them. Rank 1 will be 0, 2 will be 1, and 3 will be 2. So you will have only three values: 0, 1, 2. Okay, so these things are taken care, and then I split the data into X and Y, where Y is only eligibility, and the rest, dropping the eligibility part, rest will go into X. Then I've used train test split to split the data into 20 by 8, like 20 and 80, 20 being the test size, and then I'm training the data with a simple model, no parameters used here at all. Okay, once the data is trained, I get a good accuracy of 96%, and I have actually checked the accuracy over here. This thing will check the accuracy, and it will print all these, confusion matrix, accuracy score, all these things when you run this. And after making this model, what I'm doing is I am packing this into a pickle file, okay, and saving it inside the um, folder itself. So this is eligibility underscore model, and you will see this is where it is in the pickle file. Now what I'm doing is, again, I'm picking up the pickle file and loading the model into a variable called model dot underscore eli. Now you may ask why I'm doing this. I could have used the model directly, but this is what we are supposed to work on more now. I mean, the next part over here will be, once I have packed the model into pickle file, which I've already done, we need to find out how to use REST API, wherein this pickle file, which is this one, will be sent to the server, to the local server. Okay, from where we will call the model each time and directly use it. So we won't have to run this entire um, model creation every time. Okay, and this will reduce down our codes in the project. So I have the model now in model underscore eli, and then the first function over here, it checks the input. So the model will require the input. Now what are the inputs that it requires? So if I go back to the data CSV, we need age, gender, income, expense, company name, company rank, and experience. So basically altogether there are six inputs. Okay, so how are we taking care of these six inputs? So this function actually takes the user list, which is getting created over here in the main file. Every time the conversation happens, everything that the user is saying, it gets stored into this list with the help of this function. Okay, when it puts the user's query or user's statement onto the screen, it also at the same time appends the user list with the query. So what we are doing is, now since this function is going to get used in the main, all of this function is going to get used in the main.py itself. Okay, so simply use the variable which is on the in the main.py file. Okay, since it's not getting used here, it is just a function in this page, in this file, eligibility.py file. So it really doesn't matter. We don't have to do anything to bring that variable here. So simply I created 6 to 7 basically 7 or 8, yeah, 8 inputs over here, out of which only six is going to get used for our purpose. So first one is actually the main list in which all the information is going to get collected, and this eligibility input, which is eli input, is what I am going to give it to this model. Rest 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Out of the 7, I am not going to use the name. We are not giving the name. And if you're giving the gender, from date of birth, we are going to get the age. From income, we are going to get the income, expense, company rank, and experience input. So how I create the input is This is where I will show you all now. Okay, so with a for loop that is used in the user uh, list, okay, now each X will pull out each statement that was given by the user. Now, if you remember, we are taking the inputs from the user with a keyword. Like when the bot is asking for a complete name, it is saying that please type or say my name is, and then the complete name. So with the help of you know if statement over here, we will find out if my name is this string is there in any of the X, then only then this part of the function will run. Okay, if and in the same way with this, all these keywords, date of birth is or date is, if it's in X, then this part of the function will run. So for each X which is there in the user, that is each statement there which is there in the user will be caught some or the other uh, with the help of these if else statement. Okay, and the moment we find that, like for example for the name, if you find my name is in any of the sentence, then it will take that sentence, it will reduce my name is in space to nothing. Okay, and then the remaining part will be the name, and then we will put the name into name underscore input this list. We are putting it into this list, and at the same time with the help of the name, there is another function that I've created, which is gender code, in which you just give the name. Over here it is. Over here it is just there's another data set, which is Indian male name data set. Okay, it's over here. Indian male name data set. I'm loading that into df underscore name. And then what this function does is it takes any name, okay, and with the name it lowers down it makes it lowercase, and then it splits into, if there is a space, it will split. So it will just get the first name out of the name of the complete name, and the first name it will check if it is there in this uh, data set. Inside the data set, there is a column called name, which is all male names, all guy names. So all the male names. So it will check if it is there, then it will give an output in the variable called gen as one. Else, if it's not there, that means it's a female. So or the person is a female, then it will give zero. In this way, with the help of the name itself, I get uh, input either one or a zero for gender. Okay, so I'm using that function over here. Okay, with the help of name, since we get the name here, my name is deducted from the sentence, remaining is the name. With the help of name, first of all, I'm saving the name into name underscore inputs, and then with the help of the name, I'm getting the gender, and I'm saving the gender into gender underscore inputs, another list. Okay, now in the same way, all the others where date of birth will be saved into date underscore inputs, and all of these will get filled. Now you may say you could have directly used one list and put everything into one list as well. The reason why I'm using separate list is because there could be a possibility that whatever name that a user provides or whatever information that user provides, the chatbot, due to voice recognition, it may not recognize due to voice, noise, in noise in the voice or disturbance in the noise, or the mic not being proper. So there could be several possibilities. So that's the reason all the names, number of times the user will say my name is this. Okay, say for example, if the user says my name is Vinod Kumar, and the chatbot recognizes as something else, some other word it recognizes, it's not Vinod Kumar. So it will ask, is this name correct? The user will say, no, it's not correct. My name is, and it will repeat, right? That the user will repeat my name is. So number of times the name is uh, my name is sentence is found, it will keep on getting stored into name input list. And what we will pick up from the list is the last one, which is the right one, because after the last right information, the user will not say it again. So from all the input files, all the lists of that we collect in this function. At the end we are going to pick the last, or from the last part, or we can say from the right hand side of the last one or minus one value of the list, and we will append this into the main list, which is ELI inputs. Okay, and this is how we get a list of inputs, which is uh, name, gender, date of birth, income, expense, company name, and experience, which is in number. So now the name that we are getting is in string, gender that we are getting is in digits, date of birth is in the format of date, income is in the format of integer, uh, expense is again integer, company name is again string, and experience input is again integer. Now we need to further proceed, process this data into to make it all digital or integers or float, so that we can feed it to a model. So what is the next thing that we are doing is, since we do not want the date of birth, we want the age. If you remember, in our eligibility data set, we have age and not, see, the first one is age and it's not date of birth. So with the help of date of birth, this function calculate age will simply go ahead and calculate the age with the help of the date of birth. Now I don't need to explain this because everybody can understand how the calculation is not happening here. So basically it turns the date of birth into ages. On the other hand, I have another data set which is called company list. This has almost 5,000 companies of India, which is mid cap uh, companies, and I've pulled it out from some what you call stock exchange website. I don't remember now from where. I just did that. And with the help of this, whatever company name the user is going to give, we will check if the company name is in the company name, this data sets column, one of the column called company name. Now, in this data set, there are two things. So let me show you this. It has a company name and its rank. This is where we benefit from it. So we not only have the company name, but what is the rank of the company name? So this was actually mid cap one, or mid cap two kind of thing. The values were there earlier. I changed it into rank, and now we are using the rank part of the uh, part of the input of the value in this one. So in this function, what we are taking is the company name, and we are checking if the company appears in this company list uh, data set. And if it does, then what is the rank? Whatever is the rank, that rank will be uh, thrown as the output. If the name is not there, then the rank will be 3. Okay, so it throws out the output as rank. Yes, I think I will have to do some more processing here, because it will throw out output as rank 1, rank 2. It will be a string value. Anyway, so basically this function takes the company name and throws out the value of rank. And then we come to the main function, which is input processing. In this, what we do is we take the inputs from the eligibility underscore input function, which takes the user list, which is the first function, this one. Okay, from this one we got a list of input, which is a list in the list form. And then using these above functions to change the gender, to find the uh, age, and to find the company rank, all that function will be used in this one. Okay, so using the first function where I'm taking the user input, a user list, and getting the input list. In this input list there is almost 7 inputs. Okay, the first one is name. So I'm taking the second one, which is the index number 1. And from this index number 1, I'm just taking the first part, which is the what do you call, the gender. Okay, because it's a list. So I'm taking the 0th index. Now the date of birth is the second one. With the help of the date of birth, what I'm doing is over here, I'm changing the date of birth into into string format, and then with the help of datetime dot strip time, which is used for string format, I'm getting a proper date, because the date of birth that we receive from the chatbot is just an integer. Okay, it is not into a real date time format. So I'm converting that into a date time format, and then changing that into date time, and then with the help of that date, which is in db now, date of birth, I'm using the calculate age function, and I'm finding the age. So this is how I find the age. So I have gender, I have now age, and then income, it can be picked up directly from input number 3, which is third index. Expenses at the fourth index, and then we need something called savings. So I'm using income minus the expense, and that's how you get the savings, which we will use it later on. Then I have the company name. The company name is at input number 5. I'm using that input number 5 in company name variable here, and then I'm using the company name variable in the company rank function to get the rank out. And once I have the rank in place, and experience is an integer input from the user, so it we keep it in the same fashion. And then at the end, with the help of all the information that I've got, I'm creating a dictionary here, user input dictionary, where I'm mentioning the age is going to be the age that we calculated here. Income is going to be integer income. So in the same way, I'm taking all the values that we found above and putting it into this dictionary. Now, why I'm making a dictionary? Because the input that I'm supposed to give it to the model has to be into NumPy array format. Okay, and to make a NumPy array, either I can directly use NumPy array and use a list and create the list, and with the help of list, then create it in, change it into NumPy array, or I can create a dictionary and then change it into data frame. It means the same thing. So over here, I took the list and I put it into pd.dataframe, and I got a data frame here, which is a single row, which is an NumPy array. So now I have got the real output that we can actually feed it to the model, which is in input underscore df. Now, next, what I'm doing is, okay, I am finding the eligibility. This function, it will do is it will take the input and it will use the model and it will give out the prediction. Okay, so now over here in the main function, to check whether the eligibility, what is the eligibility response, again this function is what we are going to import into the main file, where this function will use all the above function. And how it uses is, the first thing, input processing, which is the this function, and this function, you saw it uses all the other functions. Okay, so input processing is used to get the input, and then the second function, which is find eligibility, is used next, wherein this input is used into this function, and we get the result. Now the result is going to be either 1 or 0. 1 is eligible, 0 is not eligible. So if the result is equal to 0, then the response is going to be this: I regret to inform you that currently you have not eligible for the loan, and all blah blah blah. And then if the result is not equal to 0, that means it is 1. Then this response will go: congratulations, you're eligible for the loan up to rupees whatever. Now we had to find what it will be eligible for, up to, what amount. So for that purpose, I had created this savings here. This savings, uh, I found what would be the savings, and I've globalized this first, this variable. I've globalized it first so that we can use it in other function. So I'm using this global savings into this, and then here, the amount that the person will be eligible will be the total savings of the per month into 12 into 3. Okay, so whatever is that amount is the amount. Simply, I've just made the calculation. Banks may not be making this kind of calculation. They might have something else, but just for a purpose to be fulfilled, I'm using this. And we are using currency format. Okay, and then formatting the input into this sentence. Now, when this eligibility, okay, with this, the eligibility part is over. Now, this function, whenever we call in any situation, it will pick up the user user list, it will grab all the information, create input, give it to the model, and give the answer. And instead of the answer, it will give two responses, either of one of the responses out of the two, either this one or this one. So in the main.py file, where is this getting used? I will show you all. This is getting used in the enter proper response function. So what this function does is it takes the query, it gives the query to predict class along with the word pickle file and the model. All of these things are required, from which you get the numpy array kind of output, to which shows what is the class of the query, which is a tag. And then we are using if statement over here to understand if the intent that we have found, okay, which is the class, in order to find the class where, if the tag of the intent is goodbye or anything else underscore no, in these cases the tag is going to be goodbye only. So what the goodbye thing does is, if the tag is goodbye, okay, what it will do is, here it is in the JSON file. So when it's okay, whenever the pattern is goodbye, then it will say thanks for chatting with me, I hope your query is solved, and goodbye. Or it will say this one, it was nice to chat with you, please text me if you need my help, if you need help, and then goodbye. So what will happen in this case? So whenever if there is an intent that is found after the class is predicted, and if the class is uh, goodbye or anything else, if whenever the chatbot is asking, is there anything else I may help you with, and then the user says no, nothing else, you've done good, basically the user says no, then the chatbot is going to end the conversation, right? So in both the scenarios, the tag is going to be goodbye, and with the help of the tag, now the response is going to be what? In order to get the response, we are always calling from the functions, this page functions file. uh, there is a function which actually gives out the response. This function uses, yesterday in the previous recording I've explained about this, where how the context is set and the context is checked, rechecked again, and then the response is given. So all the responses are actually coming from the context response uh, function. So over here, the response will be given from the context response, and the tag that will be used will be goodbye over here. Okay, so this tag is being fed here, and the intent file is then given. And then once the response is given, this response is entered. This enter response, what it does is, enter response actually goes to the chat log, which is a screen. It normalizes it enters it, and it again disables it, and it gives you a view, which is y view, which is the bottom part. Okay, so it allows you to scroll. I mean, it scrolls automatically, basically. So once that part is done, it will speak the response as usual, and then the response of the bot, whatever it gave or it spoke, it will get stored into the list called bot. Okay, it is appended, and then after that, the exit program function will be run. So the bot has said goodbye and all. It is supposed to close. So exit program, what it does is it uses this function that is push conversation to MongoDB, okay, and which uses unique session ID. This function is below. Okay, what it does is all these information, whatever information you have put here, it will basically the user list and the bot list along with the customer ID, unique session ID. It pushes the information into metadata data collection. There are two types of collections here: session info and session data. So two tables are there in this database, which is on MongoDB. So this function is run in exit PG. After pushing the MongoDB information, it will stop the repeat L, okay, by, because I'm changing the value from false to true. So the thread which was running, it will stop, and the main will get destroyed. The main is actually the desktop application of the chatbot, so that will get destroyed. Okay, and if there is any exception, it will I've used try and except. So if there is any exception, it will still work in that way. Okay, and it will print close. So enter response. Till here I hope you all have understood what does the if statement do. If there is no tag that is found, or the reply that we get, or the class that we get, it is not goodbye or anything else, no, then in that case it will check if the response, it will run the response. Okay, it is directly running the response from get response. It is not running the response from context response. It is running it from the get response. Get response is again the same thing. The only difference is, what get response does is it takes the tag from get tag, and it gives the tag to context response. So get tag is over here. It's in the function part. So what get tag does is it filters and checks all the, if the tags are correct, the tag that is found by the model, the class which is predicted, if that tag is the right tag, or if it is not the right tag, what is the next tag according to the conversation that it is supposed to come. All of this get tags checks. Okay, and then when the question is repeated, or the answer is repeated, in that scenario the conversation can go haywire. So in that situation it does the checking and all that. I have explained about this in the previous video, you can check into that. So over here it will always uh, first get the tag from the get tag um, function, and then it will give it to the context response. Over here I'm giving it directly to the context response because the tag is decided by us based on the tag that was received. If it's goodbye or anything else, no, then we are giving the tag which is goodbye. But on in the other case, when if it is not goodbye or anything else, no, then whatever is the tag we want, uh, the tag to come from, then I mean, from where the tag will come, right? The first question arises. The tag will come from the tag get tag function itself. Okay, so get tag function takes query, int, and user ID. So basically, query is the main part. Ints is the output of predict class. So the predicted class, whatever class is predicted, that is the main thing that it is actually taking. So over here, like we actually use the predict class function to check what is the predicted class. So basically, most of the time we are using get response. Okay, and whenever we get the response, now in the response what we are getting, if whatever is the response, if any response that we're getting is this one, calc eli, which is calculate eligibility, in that situation we are calling this function which is eligibility response, which is from the eligibility.py function file. This is the one where there are two replies out of which one will go. Okay, so the response is coming out of where it returns a response, one response. If there is a response which is apply underscore PL, which is personal loan, after getting the eligibility, if the customer is eligible and the chatbot is asking, do you wish to apply? Then the chatbot will go ahead and apply. If the customer says yes, okay, in that case, the response that will come is apply underscore apply. So over here, if you see in intent file, the tag is going to be the moment if you say yes, any answer that is in yes or no, it will get clubbed with the previous context and it will become a tag. So previous context is p loan underscore apply. Then the new tag has become, if the customer says yes, it will become, the tag will become p loan underscore apply underscore yes. Or if the customer says no, then it will become no, if you can see. So that's how we have designed our tag get tags to work on, because that's the way we can direct the conversation. So what we are doing here is we are calling an function which is apply, and this function will actually take the inputs from the eligibility itself, because all the inputs are already given. In the real world, we would have taken some more information like pan card and Aadhaar card information, and then with the help of income tax department's API, we could have checked whether the pan, with the help of pan number, whether the what is the status of the customer's income and all that stuff. And with the help of Aadhaar card also, we could have done some kind of checking with Aadhaar card API. But since this is not a real world application, and we, if you want, we can add it, but we are not going to do that here. That will simply complicate things, since we cannot get an API from the income tax or an API from Aadhaar card department. That is something related to government. And in order to get any API of any institute or any research development firm, we have to actually pay to them if the APIs are available to be used, and then it has to be paid. So simply just to understand, okay, we are just simply going to use the same inputs as that we got it in um, eligibility, in order to find the eligibility. But while finding the eligibility, we did not use the name, okay, and we use the age. So what we are going to do is, I've created another file which is personal loan underscore apply py. In this, I am half the way now. I'm still working on it. So what this function is going to do is, it is going to take the inputs from the eligibility underscore input. All the inputs will be there. From the input, I'm going to segregate or remove all the parts, which is name, gender, date of birth, income, expense, company, and experience. All this information will be sent to MongoDB or to another database, which will be called personal loan database, inside which the collection name will be personal loan applications. And the same database will be used when the customer calls in to check the application status. So I've reached till here. Now I'm trying to create this function, after which I have to also create many other parts of the conversation, uh, which is a long way around. So I end this uh, recording with the end of this explanation. So I've explained everything which is there in the program till date. Okay. Obviously, you'll have, once you go through these recordings, understand what is happening. If you haven't understood what I explained or the way I explained, you can Google it out. Okay. And to check what function does what. And once you have a clear understanding, then you can start working with me uh, to create the rest of the parts of this chatbot. So we just created one eligibility and the personal loan apply. This is one conversation. The rest of the conversations are going to be in the same fashion, where the conversations are going to be for charges, late charges, where we will be doing a query to the MongoDB, because the other main personal loan data file will be uploaded in MongoDB. You'll have to upload it in your MongoDB local server, and then with the help of the query encodes, how to query the MongoDB files, we'll have to make functions which can help to check if there is a late charge in the customer's account. If there is no late charge, then what will be the reply? If there is a late charge, then what will be the reply? In this function, there is one more thing that will come into the picture, which is what to do next if there is charge. If the customer, sorry, if what to do next if the customer does not agree to the charge, or what to do if the customer agrees to the charge. So these are the things that we'll have to come up with. Right now, I am going to end this conversation, this recording, and yeah, I hope for the best. Okay, thank you.